Okay, girls, this is going to be part one of two. I'm going to show everybody that on my software how I am able to get my brother's scan and cut to cut out all of the pieces necessary to make these Sani-holders. So I have pulled in the heart sanitizer holder, as you can see here. I am using Embrilliance, so this is going to be specific to Embrilliance, but if you can find the same functions in the software that you use, then by all means share what you have with your software. I'm unable to do that because I only use the one. So you pull in the sanitizer holder. You only want the very first color stitch out, which is the outline. Everything after that you want to delete. When you have these deleted and it's just this color, you want to save it as to your system as a different file so that you are only working with one color change, the outline. Okay? Go down to the color change tab. You will notice the box pops up that says color and applique. Click on this arrow to go into the applique position option. Click on simulated. Over here in inflate, gals, do not change this, and I'm going to explain this to you a little bit later, but leave this as it is. You don't have to save as an SVG file, which is what will happen if you go in here. You'll notice it tries to save it. We're not going to use that, and I'll tell you why about that a little bit later too. But once you've got this set up as an applique and you click OK, you'll notice that now it's a filled in item. In Embrilliance, if you go into your preference setting here, okay, it brings up a box. Okay, you want to go down to your printer setup, and in here is where you have the options of printing your patterns. If you check the boxes that I have here, it will allow you to print out. Now I can also click this, and that would make it just an outline. But in this case, we don't want just an outline, and I'll explain that in a little bit while later too. So make it a filled item. Go ahead and click apply. Click OK. Come up to your printer tab. Okay, I've already done this, but I'm just going to walk you through the steps. Select your printer. Of course, I'm using a Mac, so on PCs, obviously, this box that comes up will be different. Select everything according to your printer and let it print as this solid, solid item. You do not want the outline. Okay, so when you've got that printed, okay, let's move over to my scan and cut. Okay, so when you've got this printed, it'll look like this on your paper. Okay, what you want to do is, you go home, you want to go to your scan and cut, and you're going to tell it to scan. You're going to tell it to scan to data. You're going to load your map. Mine was unloaded, so let's reload it. Okay, you're going to load your map. All right. Go ahead and tell it to start, and let it begin to recognize and scan in this pattern. Okay? It seems like this is the crazy thing to do, but let me tell you, it has worked, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's worked. So once I've scanned that in, let's let it finish doing its thing. And it takes a minute or two, because this is a filled pattern instead of an outline. And the reason we don't want to do an outline here is because you'll notice on the computer screen there is a line for this heart. The brother scan and cut believes that that is a cut line. Okay, so when it goes to cut it out, it cuts the heart off, and then we lose our tab. By doing it as a filled, you'll get this on your screen. If you select this top button, hold on, let me use my paddle. I can't find my little wand. Anyway, you'll want to use this up here. Okay, take that top, and now you see, now here it's an outline, but the part of the heart that is in our original pattern that makes the bottom part of this heart, it's not there anymore. And by it being gone, it's now not going to cut the heart off of the snap tab. Okay? So you'll want to, if everything looks good here for you, you'll want to save it. Now, I've already done this, so it's going to ask me if I want to, okay, so it saves it to memory. Okay, now I've got two of them in there, but that's no big deal. So you'll want to back out of here, and it's okay because it's already saved. You're going to get it off your screen. Okay, you're going to back out again. Now you're going to go into pattern. Go into saved, whoops, sorry. Go into save data and pull up that one that we just did. For me, it's down here. Okay, now I've got it on my screen. I'm sorry, girls, this is very archaic, but it's the only way I can do it for you because I don't have a professional camera or a way to do this, so I apologize. So once you've selected this and it's on your screen, select OK. Okay, now this box right here is where you're going to go to create the seam allowance, the extra bit that we need around to be given to us in a particular percentage. So if you click here, okay, this button right here makes the seam allowance. Now I want to tell you something. There's a couple of places that you can go to set this. The machine defaults automatically to a 1/4 inch. Okay, a 1/4 inch is too much. I've already tested it and it gives you way too much outside the stitch line. Okay, so if you go into tools, open up your screen here, your tool screen, go down to seam allowance. You'll notice you can toggle through here and there's different ones. The highlighted one in black is because that's the factory default. It's too big. I have found that by going backwards and getting, whoops, to 3 and leaving it at 3, you get a decent amount of seam allowance, which I've shown you in my pictures. The other thing I want to show you while we're in here is this. Cut speed for vinyl must be at a 1. If you try anything else, you will waste more vinyl than you'll make hand sanitizers out of. The cut pressure for vinyl, anywhere from -1 to the factory default of 0. But on the 250, I know for certain if you go any higher than that, it pulls it off of the page, and then you've got a mucky mess. The draw speed and draw pressure, of course, you need not worry about. So let's get back out of here. I've already got my seam allowance set. Got something on my screen. I don't know what that is. That off of there. So once you have set your seam allowance in the tools where you want it, and you select here, you'll notice, well, I've got a dot on my page. That's why. Hold on, girls. Let me see if I can find I have a test dot. Here it is. That has stuck to my screen. Let me get rid of the test dot. This is a test dot. Pay no mind to that. Highlight what you want and put the seam allowance around it. Okay? See how I did that? And you'll notice that this will change for you based on the designation that you've given it in the system for the amount of seam allowance that you want. This is also where you go up and down in numbers. If I keep pushing plus and hit 4 and hit OK, it's going to give me 4 of these on my screen. So when I am using, for instance, a sheet of vinyl like this, and I want to cut all of my fronts and backs out of one piece, you want to be on this screen. You want to increase your numbers up and down according to how many that you are certain will fit on your sheet when it's in here. And then it just copies it for you, and then you can place it on the screen. Okay, I'll go ahead and set mine at 4 just so I can show you. So when you hit OK, you see now I've got 4 of these things, and they all, when I separate them, they all have a seam allowance. Don't mind my little tester there. This is a test. You'll want to have one of these on your screen to test your blade. I am using, where's my blade? Oh, here it is. Sorry. I am using the purple deep cut. Right now with the vinyl that I have in my machine, I have found that, yes, I am at 5, not quite 5 3/4. This little guy is a godsend. And if you don't know how to use it, I'll show you at the end here. So once you get all 4 of your little fellas placed, okay, remember, this will make 2 Sani-holders, 1 front, 1 back. Okay, once you've done that, you can select OK. All right, this little bad boy scans your paper in. So I can take my sheet out and let me peel up this paper. Give me a second here, gals. Yeah, it wants to stick pretty good. Get your paddle out. Okay. I'm sorry, I am not as organized as most. Okay, so once you, let me turn this so everybody can see it. So once you get your pattern set, then of course everybody who has used these knows you'll get your vinyl set on here. You can hit this scan button right here. It'll scan it in so you can see your background. You will place these where you want, and let me tell you, this little guy right here helps to set the depth of your blade. Okay, it will print first. It always prints first. Put it down like I have it here in a lower corner so that it tests the depth of your cut down here. So when the sheet backs out, all you have to do is peel it up real slow to see if it's cut all the way through, but not all the way through to your mat, so you don't cut your mat. I know we've all made that mistake. So to add this little fella, you go into add. For mine, for the C250, now the 350, the 550, they may have it in a different location. But if you hit test and always pick the circle, it is the best test one to know because it's continuous. It does not pick the blade up, and you'll know if it's going to pull or tear your vinyl. So when I add it, it tells me what size, and the default size is fine. I'm going to go back because I don't need to add one. I've already got one on here. So I'm back to here. The best thing that I can tell you is that if you organize your vinyl according to type, so that like types and thicknesses are together, then get those address labels or a labeler and actually put the information that you have discovered is the best settings for that particular vinyl written on those white address labels and attached to the vinyl that are like vinyls. Every time you go to pull that vinyl, you know exactly what you need to do to set your depth of your blade and the settings in your tools for the cut speed and pressure. Again, with the 250 and the deep cut blade, your cut depth, your cut speed should never be above 1, and your pressure should either be -1 or 0. Gals, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, send them to me in private message, and I can take other videos of specific areas that you may be questioning. I could run through and cut this. I can tell you, these are the ones that I have cut so far. All of these came from using the same technique. I've even done the bows, if you'll notice, and I'm getting ready to do fabric. I've also done pockets, okay? And with ones that I was testing, I had pre-cut sheets from something else. So everybody should know that if you have enough space like this left over, I can cut a bow from here. By putting this back on there, I can actually line it up and cut another bow from this and use it for something else. So save every little scrap, because with these hand sanitizers and with the bows, the buttons and bows, you can actually cut more out of these. And I got quite a bit. Like here's another piece here, and I'm going to be able to cut a whole bunch of other stuff out of here. So by using this thing, we're eliminating waste. I've even got space here between, I'll show you here in a minute, right here. I can cut a bow out of here. I can actually probably cut, I don't know if I can cut a pocket. No, I can cut a bow from here. So because you're using this, you're eliminating a lot of the waste, and that really, really helps to be able to get the scraps down to just minimal scraps. Don't know if this is going to help everybody, but I hope it'll help some of you with the time that I've spent to try to make it easier for me. Hopefully I'll be able to make it easier for some other people too. Good luck, and post your stuff so I can see how everybody's doing. Feel free to ask questions. Have a great day.